Yo, welcome to Dominique Davis's YouTube channel. I appreciate you for stopping by. Please like, comment, and subscribe if the content resonates with you. I want to talk to you today about success and how that ties to standards, and vice versa. So, always keep my Voss water. Gotta stay hydrated. Health is wealth, people. Health is wealth. All right. Let's dive in. I keep my little notes with me. It's a lot to talk about, so I got to keep my notes in my phone if you see me glancing down. But when we talk about success, to me, success, standards is the foundation of success. Success is built on standards on top. You don't get there without having standards. And what I mean is you got to have standards for yourself. There is a bunch of people walking around, specifically a bunch of men, that do not have standards for themselves. And they complain that they're not getting the relationships they want. They complain that they're not being treated by people the way they want. And to me, that's up to them. I've always said this. The person that you got to demand the most from is not your mom, it's not your dad, and it's not your spouse. It's you. Yes, you as a man, you got to demand this. You got to demand the most from yourself. And part of that might be, setting standards, right? So on the setting standards portion, these are a set of rules, expectations that you hold yourself by, not something that you just give and you say something, say to somebody else and what they should do, but it's what you should do. These standards. And, could you imagine if institutions did not have standards? Like if GPA wasn't a thing, right? How do you determine who gets the scholarships? If trophies weren't a thing, like how do you determine who won the game? If keeping score wasn't a thing, if there wasn't rules governing the game, it wasn't a thing, So you can see how confusing that can be, and it can be confusing for a person. But anybody that has something, I know you guys have something that you want to do, that you're trying to be successful at. I don't know if that's a job. The job market is crazy out there. People are getting laid off. They've been laid off for 6 months, 7 months, and I know it's getting tight. Like mentally, you're going through it. So I know that's a current event that's going on right now in the job market with a lot of corporate America and the layoffs in the U.S. Some of you guys have weight you want to lose. Some of you just want to lose it because you want to look aesthetically fine, better. But some of you are being told by your physicians that you need to do it for your health at this point. Like it has gotten so bad that you need to lose weight, for your health. It could be, that relationship. It could be building that business. Whatever it is, you need standards to build these things upon. So one of the things with building standards that I want to talk about first is just the self-respect portion of it, right? So you got to have self-respect for yourself. I know that sounds crazy, right? They call it self-esteem, esteem of yourself. That's why it's called self-esteem. It's esteem of yourself. Other people cannot make you have low self-esteem. That is something you control. Okay, now that sounds harsh. People can say mean things to you, but you control your self-esteem. That's up to you to believe it or not. So self-respect should be a standard of yours. What are the boundaries that you set? Do you let people just come in and take money from you, or just take things? Even worse than money, do people just take time from you for no reason? Right? Like, yeah, I'm talking to you. You got people out there that are just taking time and money, or just time, or just money, but it's still bad. Are there people that are draining you emotionally? They require so much of your mental capacity that they're taking from you emotionally, But if you don't have self-respect, you can't create those boundaries. Hell, you might not even recognize them. You're just getting walked all over like a doormat. So you got to have self-respect. That's number one. Number two, your standards will guide your decision making. Okay, and this is what I mean. If you are a person that thinks that exercise and health is actual wealth, because it is, it's a standard I live by, then there's certain things that come onto your decision making of your day. So you won't go do something until you go work out or exercise. So even when you're on vacation, since that's a standard, it's a vacation, but it's good weather. Why the hell not? Why not bring my sneakers? Why not get it running or hit the gym and hit the weights? That's a standard you live by. So that's the decision you make. Maybe it's a standard that you just don't drink. So the decision you make is you just don't go to the bar because you just don't drink. That's a standard you live by. So that standards are important because it improves your decision making, which is obviously going to be very important to the sum of all those decisions and to being successful. Let's go to the next one. Let's go to number 3. Improve relationships. And there's 10 of them, y'all. I'm going to try to get through them. There's 10 of them. Improve relationships. So what this means is if you have standards that you live by, one or two things are going to happen. Those standards are going to be either too much for people, and they're going to stop hanging with you, or it's going to cause friction in the relationship, which is actually doing you a favor anyway, because if they're not living by, or at least treating you to your standards, they don't need to be there anyway, right? So it's going to help you be around and surround yourself with people that are on the same page. You might not necessarily be doing the same things, but you guys are about the same type of shit, So that's one. Number 4, increase confidence. Yes, standards will give you increased confidence. When you stick to your standard, like when you really just put your feet in the ground and you stick to something you said you would do, and you did it, and you do it over and over and over again. It increases your self-perception and your self-worth to yourself. It increases that. You feel better about yourself. And I will bring this I'll bring this quote up. Deion Sanders, shout out to Deion, best cornerback in history, right? He said, hey, look, if you look good, you feel good. If you feel good, you're going to play good. And if you play good, they pay good. And that's facts. Your self-worth, how you feel about yourself, it's going to improve that self-confidence. And you already know, when you're confident about something, that means you had preparation and you're more sure of it. And you're more likely to go succeed and do that thing. Let's go on to the next one. Number 5, prevention of regret. Okay? You can avoid impulsive decisions. Having standards stops you from making impulsive decisions. And ladies and gentlemen, we know impulsive decisions can be detrimental. Every once in a while they work out and, but they can be very detrimental, impulsive decisions. You could lose your business like that. You could fail out of college like that. You can go to jail like that. You can lose all your finances like that. You can get fired like that. Impulsive decisions are not a standard that I would hope nobody would want to live by. I know we've all probably made impulsive decisions at some point. That's something I try to regulate, and I hold myself to a standard. When I was a kid, it was easy to make impulsive decisions. Now being an adult, I'm able to slow everything down, rationalize it, and I make a sound decision to move accordingly. So one of the most important ones, number 6, standards helps your personal growth. Okay? So holding yourself to a standard of always trying to optimize the task that you're trying to do. Always trying to get better at it. Always trying to get better at your jump shot. Honing in on the skills to get better at your job. Honing in the skills to build your career. Honing in the skills to work out effectively, whether it's hiring a trainer. Honing in the skills to manage your finances properly. And honing in on your skills to optimize the way you build your business. That's all part of personal growth. Anything you feel like you can do to improve yourself. And I love relating everything. I was a basketball player growing up, so I relate everything to that. It's your practice. Come on, guys. How hard do you practice? Do you practice on the things that will make you good, that'll make you failure-proof? Ooh, that's a good one. Failure-proof. How do you be failure-proof? You work, not the goal, you work on the things that will lead you to the goal, so you cannot fail. I tell everybody, you just got to get 1% better. Just wake up 1% better. They tell, just lose 1 pound. You got to lose 20, just lose 1. And then you repeat that day in and day out. It's personal growth. All right, the next one, number 7. All right, better opportunities. This happens naturally. This is the cool part about your network. This happens naturally. If a person was standing in front of me named Opportunity, and I'm a person that had standards, odds are that's going to be reflective and that person's going to pick up on that and notice that, because they're going to know I have standards because of maybe the way I look. Maybe I take myself serious because I actually put on clothes, right? Or the right clothes that are appropriate for whatever occasion that you're in. If it's a business, meeting, you might want to wear a suit or something. But nonetheless, somebody can look at you and know if you take yourself serious. That's why, fellas, you got to stop looking like bums. You got to stop that. Put on some clothes. Like, groom yourself. Look like if opportunity was there trying to shake your hand, he would want to give you the job or whatever that is. But you look like a bum, so opportunity doesn't trust you. It doesn't think that you're striving for excellence, and they obviously don't want to give you that opportunity. So, they like, opportunities like this. And a lot of people miss out on a lot of moments because they just don't present themselves well. So, you'll get better opportunities because people will pick up on that. They'll trust you, and they'll think you'll be great or excellent for whatever opportunity they're trying to put in front of you. So, emotional well-being. This is what all humans struggle with in some capacity, right? So, stress, anxiety, all those hormones that fire. All those hormones. I'll get into a later video. I'll tell you why emotions are actually fake. But all those hormones that fire, that signal these psychological phenomena, stress, anxiety, things that happen, things that make you anxious, and if you have standards, that helps keep everything just in a box. Not that you won't feel that, but you're able to rationalize it. It makes sense, and it won't make you do things that are obviously self-destructive to yourself, which is the most important. You are the most important. Number 9, boundary settings. This can be emotional and physical. When you have standards, you'll just hear somebody say flat out, "Oh yeah, he ain't going for that." This one's short and sweet. Just have that look about you. You ain't going for that, right? And the last one, but the most important, because without it, you can do all these things, but without the last one, you're never going to be successful. And it's consistency, right? So you want to put these actions into a repeatable, scalable cycle. Something that you can do day in and day out. These standards, you should be doing these things daily, because every day that passes, you're getting closer and closer to whatever that goal is, if you can do and live by these things, right? So the repeatability and the consistency is very important, and that's going to be key down the road when it comes to success. And then you got to do it with integrity. And when I say integrity, you're going to encounter people on the way. You shouldn't lose yourself in the process of these standards. These standards should align to the person that you are, and hopefully the person that you are is a good person. Because I ain't telling you to have standards that's bad, that's negative. Have standards that are positive, that radiate positivity. That's motivational, that's inspirational. Those are valuable people to be around. And people are willing to give you more opportunities if they notice that about you. So, those are the 10 concepts I wanted to share with you about standards and how important standards are. Like, comment, and subscribe. Sorry, my bad. Yes, please do that. But more importantly, I want to know your thoughts. Comment on some of the standards that you have. I gave you a couple of mine. I'm a workout fanatic. I was an athlete since I was 5. You're going to work when you're around me. That's a standard I have. They know I'm going to get it in. Another standard I have is being financially sound. If I want a good quality of life to, provide for my 7-year-old, I need to be financially sound so I don't make financial dumb decisions.